Will Sean Couturier and Jamie Drysdale be back in the lineup for the Flyers game on Thursday against the Dallas Stars? Well, maybe. I'm Charlie O'Connor with PHLY Flyers here with my Flyers post-practice notes update, and it's abundantly clear that we truly do not know if Sean Couturier and Jamie Drysdale have both missed the last two games. Sean Couturier with what is described as a minor injury, Jamie Drysdale because he is supposedly ill. Unclear whether they are going to be back in the lineup. We asked John Tortorella before practice today for an update. He would not provide one. Basically said that I don't know why I give you guys the lineups on Morning's War games, but I'm not going to do that anymore. So we'll see if he holds to that. But in any case, he was not willing to say whether Sean Couturier or Jamie Drysdale would return. He did say that Jamie Drysdale was feeling better from his illness, so that's at the very least a positive sign. However, even though neither player did hit the ice for morning skate, which you would think is a pretty bad sign given the fact the Flyers had a travel day 2 days ago and then were off yesterday, you miss morning skate after missing 2 days of practice, generally speaking, means there might be an issue. However, the way the Flyers set up the morning skate does give you pause and makes you think, hey, maybe Sean Couturier in particular may be in the lineup. Reason being, the first line when they ran lines, it was Owen Tippett, Travis Konechny, so these are your two first-line wingers, with Nick Deslauriers centering them. Now, look, Nick Deslauriers, obviously a good character guy, good culture guy, great fighter. He's not a first-line center, not even really a center at all. So the logical thing that you think is that maybe he was just a stand-in for Couturier. Maybe they're giving them the morning off because they want to give him as much time as possible to be ready for the game. That tells me there's a good chance that Couturier is back in the lineup tonight. I know I did not attend the Philadelphia Sports Writers Association dinner last night. Sean Couturier got an award for being basically the good guy to the media. Couturier apparently at that dinner said that he was feeling better. Basically the same thing with Irvin Drysdale, so positive sign there. My guess is that Couturier will play. I don't know why you would have Deslauriers sitting in as the de facto first-line center in practice unless he was standing in for Sean Couturier. If they knew Couturier was definitely not going to play, I would think they would have someone like Morgan Frost or Scott Lawton up there. Instead, they have a stand-in. I think there's a good chance Couturier plays. Drysdale, we'll see. It does appear that they're going to go 7 defensemen in this game, regardless of whether Drysdale plays or not. I would assume that if Drysdale can play, Mark Stahl would stay in the lineup as the 7. They did run forward combinations. They didn't run defense combinations. So that tells me they're planning for 7 defensemen. Drysdale, Torts did say, was feeling better, so we'll see. I would guess there's a better chance Couturier plays than Drysdale, but certainly possible that both could play. Now, if both play, it seems like the 3 extras will be Bobby Brink taking a seat, Nick Deslauriers, who, as I said, was more the stand-in for Couturier than on an actual line, and Mark Stahl, because they're not going to dress 8 defensemen that Drysdale plays. All 3 of those guys were on the ice for extra skating after practice was technically over. That usually is a telltale sign a guy is going to play. Those 3 guys seem to be on top of the list as guys who would sit if both Couturier and Drysdale will play. Those extras were skating with Carter Hart because it does appear that Sam Ersson is going to get the nod. Now, interestingly enough, since Carter Hart has come back from his illness, this would have been the December 22nd game, I believe, against the Red Wings. That was his first game back. Carter Hart's gotten 7 starts. Sam Ersson, after tonight's game, will have 6 starts. So we're getting pretty close to a 50-50 timeshare. I asked John Tortorella if, not even saying anything negative about Carter Hart, but has Sam Ersson essentially turned this into a 1A, 1B situation? Torts wasn't willing to go down that road. He did say that the fact that the schedule in January combined the travel that they've had a lot of travel since the start of December especially, and the fact that the schedule is very busy. They have another 3 and 4 coming up this weekend. They play obviously tonight, then they play Saturday and Sunday, so a lot of games in a row. And then I believe they also have 6 and 9 coming up in addition to the 3 and 4. So a lot of games. It does seem like they're placing an emphasis upon splitting time with the goalies, but as Tortorella said, a lot of this also is just how well Samuel Ersson is playing. I went back and looked yesterday for my my defenseman and goalie midterm grades. Check that at allphly.com. It went up this morning. Yesterday was the forwards. Check out both of them there. But when I was doing research for that piece, I went back and looked at Sam Ersson's numbers. If you remove the first 3 games of the season, you remember the first game he hadn't played in about 3.5 weeks, was clearly rusty for the first 2 periods. Second game was against, I believe, the Ducks, and he got blown out. He just didn't have it. And then the third game was in relief of Hart against the Sabres. Take those 3 games out of the mix and just look at everything from essentially like November 3rd on to today. We're sitting at a nice 930 save percentage for Sam Ersson. So for the better part of 2.5 months now, Sam Ersson has been playing like an elite goalie. So obviously they're going to try to get him as many starts as they can. It's a tough matchup tonight, facing a really good Dallas Stars team that I view as a legitimate Stanley Cup contender. So I guess you could say this is another measuring stick type game for the Flyers, but honestly, it's hard for me to say the Flyers need much more measuring at this point. I mean, they went into Winnipeg, who at the time had the best record in hockey. The Flyers were tired. They had played them the night before. They were in the midst of travel. They didn't have Sean Couturier, and they went in and beat the Jets, and they beat the Jets pretty convincingly, a 2-0 win. So I don't know if the Flyers really need any more measuring stick game. I think at the very least right now, they're playing like a good hockey team, and it'll be interesting to see how one good hockey team matches up against a legitimate Stanley Cup contender in my mind, the Dallas Stars. That will be happening tonight. Keep an eye out for our post-game show. I will be joining Bill Matz after the buzzer, after I'm done interviewing John Tortorella and the players, potentially after another Flyers win. Let's see if they can keep the streak going. To that end, I've been Charlie O'Connor. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
We all silly like the mayor.